Hello everybody, this is Shroud Myth, here to bring you a game that I doubt any of you have heard of. And what is this game I'm talking about? It's Alistella Tactics. As you can guess by the name, it is a tactics game made by a Japanese indie developer. And it is heavily inspired by Fire Emblem and Berwick Saga, which is why I'm playing it. So let's start! I'm gonna start with a new game right here. And there's two difficulty levels. The first difficulty level is normal, which has permadeath and the minimum experience gain being 0. The second difficulty level is easy, which doesn't have permadeath, and its minimum experience gain is 20. I'm gonna go with normal since I've been playing Fire Emblem for 10 years, and Advanced Wars even longer. And as you can see right now, it does look like a tactics game, only it uses hexagon and not square, so it takes inspiration from Berwick Saga there. I'm not going to be reading the story because I do not know Japanese and I'm not going to pretend to. Also, the music you're listening to right now is from Holst, the planet Mars, the bringer of war. So there's your FE reference right there, Mars as in Marth. And the objective is to seize the castle right there, and our loss condition is for our lord to die. And now we can actually start playing the game. First things first, you notice the hexagons, but you also notice this turn order here. This is how Berwick Saga actually did its turn order. It was ratio based. So let's say the enemy outnumbered me 2 to 1. I can move once, then they can move 2 times, and I can move 1 time. And you can see exactly how the turn order is laid out right over here. But it is not only inspired by Berwick Saga. If you click on somebody, it's apparent where its other inspiration comes from. It is Fire Emblem Heroes. The UI is laid almost exactly like it, with the HP being here, power being there, defense being there, speed being there, resistance being there, our skills being there, and then 3 little slots going down, for the top one being the weapon. Yeah, this is very much inspired by Fire Emblem Heroes too. And can you believe just how like unlikely such a thing was, like Berwick Saga and Fire Emblem Heroes being combined, but here we got it. Anyways, I'm gonna explain who all the units are right now. This is our lord. His name is Ritna. And fun fact, I know their names because I looked into the code to see if I can translate their name with Google Translate, and I learned that Ritna's internal name is actually Zeed. Zeed as in the Lord from Vestaria Saga. So this game takes inspiration from Vestaria Saga as well. His skill set is Commander 1, which gives allied within 3 hexes 10 to their hit. He has critical. And in this game, it's like Fire Emblem 4, where critical is not natural. You need either a skill or a special weapon to actually have a critical rate. And he also has Miracle or Prayer, or however they localize it in Vestaria Saga. And what this does, it works more like the Fire Emblem 4 version, where if your health is low enough, your avoid gets boosted. In this case, it gets boosted when under half health. And again, Ritna is very much inspired by Z. This is his exact skill set from Vestaria Saga. And he also has his exact weapon. Only here it's called the King Sword of Gallatin. It has 120 hit, 7 might, 0 range, 3 weight, and effective against armor knights and cavalry. And it has a brave effect. Now you may be wondering about that 0 range right there. And what 0 range is, it's just how Berwick Saga classifies melee attacks. 0 range attacks adjacently with melee range, but 1 range can also attack adjacently, but that's considered a range attack. Melee attack and range attacks cannot counter each other. So it's very confusing, but there's not many opportunities in this map, it seems like, to actually demonstrate how that actually works. Just check out my very old Berwick Saga video to get more information. Anyways, our next unit is Raki, who's based off of Troy from Vestaria Saga. He has his skill set, which is basically just Adept and Kanto. And that's the longsword, I believe. But you may have noticed this little horse icon here. This does... I mean, you probably thought that just means he's mounted. Yes, that is true. But what is this HP? Well, that's the HP of his horse. In Berwick Saga, horses have their own HP bars. And if it goes to 0, they die and they need to be replaced. And that was one way that Berwick Saga balanced its mounts. So mounted units, their horses are a resource now. The next unit is Baofu, and she seems to be based off of Dune from Vestaria Saga. Although not the exact stats, because Dune did not have this high of a speed stat. But Dune did have Vantage, although he didn't have this skill, which I believe is Hide. And Hide was a skill in Berwick Saga where if you stand in certain terrain such as forests or houses, then you cannot be seen by the enemies, and you can actually use that to ambush people. Dune was the first one, I think Dune was the first archer, so Baofu is your first archer here with a iron bow. Our next unit is Norg, who's based off of Prodi, one of the first armor knights that you get in Vestaria Saga, only they were called Guardians. His skills include Diligence, which boosts EXP gain by 1.5, and Adjacent Guard 1, or Adjacent Asgard 1. I'm not sure how Vestaria Saga localized it, but this adjacent units next to Norg gain 3 to their defense and their resistance. So you can see with her, she initially had 1 defense, but now she has 4. She had 0 resistance, but she now has 3. As far as the weapon that Norg has, he has the Pylon, which is a 0-2 range spear weapon. And this is different from Berwick Saga because spear range weapons were 0-1 range, so they can attack for melee, or they can only attack adjacently, but they could attack at range attacks and counter back at melee. Our last unit is Sathya, and you may have noticed she has no weapon. That's because she just carries around the heal staff, it seems like it. As far as her skill set goes, she has Protection, which I believe works more like Miracle in most Fire Emblem games, where it protects you from a fatal attack. And it has a luck % chance to activate. And then she has Charisma, which boosts allies within 5 hexes by their avoid by 5%. And with that, we can actually start the map. It seems like I got 2000 T. I'm assuming that's the currency of the game. And there you got a little snippet of the Berwick Saga turn order system. I move Raki first, and then they move 2 enemies. And you can see exactly like what the turn order is, like right over here. But yeah, that's how it's gonna work. I move some units, they move some units, and how that is determined is through the ratio. And yeah, I admit it's pretty complicated, but the UI there just makes it so that you understand like who's actually gonna move. Seems like I got the unit menu. This is inventory. Yeah, this is the inventory. I believe that's the short sword, which means yeah, Ridna is based off of Z from Vestaria Saga, since this is his exact inventory. This is the convoy, and there seems to be a lot of stuff, but it seems that these are all placeholders since only their weapon type and their ranges are assigned, so I'm not going to withdraw anything from that. That's weight. I believe that is mount, and that's another weight command for whatever reason. That was mount. And you know who also has a horse? Reese from Berwick Saga. The lord of that game also has a horse, so maybe Ridna is partially inspired by Reese as well. It'll be cool. It takes like inspiration from Fire Emblem Heroes, Berwick Saga, Alistella Saga, and I haven't looked into the calculations, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took the calculations from like another like Fire Emblem game or something. So yeah, this game, the developer is an obvious Fire Emblem fan and Saga fan, and it seems like we got some reinforcements maybe. I mean, I see the green unit. Actually, if they come in as green units, this would complicate things. Like, I am trying to port over the turn order system from Berwick Saga into SRPG Studio, and I don't know the exact algorithm, so specifically when green and yellow units come into the play, and that's been messing me up, and it seems they left, so no reinforcement. Oh well. It seems I cannot reach, but that's not a problem. That is not a problem, because with the Berwick Saga turn order, sequencing your actions is very important. So over here, I move Raki first, so that their units can move first, and put them into range of my units, right there. And it seems to work perfectly. And over here, I should try to explain the Berwick Saga combat system, since Berwick Saga seems to be using, since this game seems to be using that combat system. Actually, first let me explain the green cross that enemy has. That's an injury, and what an injury does is that it makes you more susceptible to a cripple, and once you're crippled, you can be captured. And injuries can just have a chance to happen with any attack, and cripples, they happen if you take a large amount of damage and your health is low. Alright, that is attack. Actually, I'm going to check the inventory. Huh. Yeah, it seems like I can attack with this. I can attack with this. So I'm trying to I'm not sure how to equip this. Hopefully it's this. It wasn't that. This? Yes! I can equip it with that. And over here you can see something. Like, notice the spear icon right on the right. There's the pylon, which has the arrow, and then there's this spear which doesn't have the arrow. What does that mean? The arrow means that it is a ranged weapon, and that's a mechanic from Alistella Saga that separated, you know, regular spears and ranged spears into like separate weapon types, specifically so mounts couldn't use the ranged spears, the throwing spears, because that's one of the reasons why mounted units tend to be busted. Like, they have huge range because, you know, they have 2 range for whatever reason. And that should be like archers, like, you know, like Balfu right here. And let me explain like the Berwick Saga combat system. Oh, like, first of all, like, you have to realize that a round and a hit is different in Berwick Saga, and it's actually different in Fire Emblem, but most of the time it really doesn't matter. And hopefully attacking with Ritna game may explain it. Now, you look over at the top and you see the 10 times 2 times 1. 10 is the damage he's going to inflict. 2 is the number of hits that he's going to get, because he has 2 hits, because since he has a brave weapon, his own personal weapon. And then the last one, the 1, is how many rounds he gets. And what's the difference between a round and a hit? Well, let me explain it. A brave weapon gives you 2 hits, while something like Pursue grants you an extra round, aka a follow-up attack, to use Fate's terminology. So I hope that explains it. I go into more detail in my Berwick Saga video, but from like a long time ago. But I hope that like explains it. The brave weapons multiply your hit, while Pursue gives you like extra rounds. So those are 2 ways to like get extra hits. And it seems like I got critical, because you know Ridna can actually critical, and he seems to have gained a 6 in sword skill, so he gained sword skill. So in Berwick Saga, weapon skills were divided. You have a skill set for each weapon type that you could wield. And they could increase either by level up through your growth rates, or they have a random chance of leveling, also leveling up. You have a chance of getting like more weapon EXP by attacking, but it was random, not like deterministic like in most Fire Emblem games, and that's one of my criticisms of Berwick Saga. But you may have noticed something, like even though they attack, like lots of units, even though they can counter, lots of units don't counter. And why is that? Well, the reason for that is because in Berwick Saga, if you take damage, you cannot counter back. So since Raki over there missed, they were able to counter back. And since I got damage, I couldn't get my retry attack, because in Berwick Saga, combat was divided into 3 phases. The round was divided into 3 phases. The first phase was attack, where the initiator attacks. The second phase was counter, which the defender counters. And then there was the third phase, which was retry. And retry is when the initiator can redo a missed attack if they haven't been damaged yet. So it seems like I can't reach this guy, and this is where the Fire Emblem Heroes UI failed me, because I can't. It doesn't seem like I can switch to the pylon. I don't know how to do that. I could switch here, but I'm afraid that if I do that, I won't be able to move. Yeah, it's not giving me the option to move. It is giving me the option to trade, but yeah, as soon as I right click out of that, it didn't allow me to move. So that's where the Fire Emblem Heroes UI is kind of lacking for this game, because Fire Emblem Heroes was a simple game, but this game is much more complicated. And I do think the Fire Emblem Heroes UI would work just fine if they did more with the right click. Like if I can right click to see somebody's inventory and then equip it before I move or something, unless they don't want you to move after equipping, which, you know, would be fair as well. But I believe this is more of a UI issue in this case. So see over there, since he missed, Raki was able to actually counter back, and that is very, very important within the Berwick Saga combat system. Units just live for a lot longer there, as you can tell here. Like these guys probably would have like died a very long time ago if they were just in regular Fire Emblem combat system. And that guy is dead. And here, Kanto, how it works, it seems to work like in Berwick Saga, where in Berwick Saga you can Kanto after you attack. And this is unlike the GBA games. This is very much unlike the GBA games, where you can only Kanto when you don't attack. It's actually the opposite of the GBA games, because over here you can't Kanto when you, for example, traded with somebody or equipped a weapon or something, or visited a village. You just cannot do that in this game or in Berwick Saga. So it works the exact opposite of the GBA game. Now I can finally attack the boss. I believe they are magic user. No, they're not a magic user. There was one magic user. It was that one guy attacking at range. But it seems, you know, that person said I killed them with Ritna, so oh well. I missed, so they can get to counter back, so remember that. In Berwick Saga and this game, you can only counter if you have not taken damage. So because I took damage there, Ritna cannot attack back. So this makes... Damn it. There we go. And yeah, that was Fire Emblem Heroes UI quirks. Yeah, they really should, like... It works... I feel like it is a good fit for PC, but you have to take advantage of right click. But anyways, in Berwick Saga, because of this counter system, like, and because of the turn system, and everything, archers didn't suck as badly. Actually, archers were pretty good in that game. And we get our first level up. Let's see what we get. That's HP. And that's... I don't know Japanese. Okay, the 6 is defense. And that, I believe, is... Okay, I believe that he gained HP, speed, and defense. So, I believe that is. And you see that he also has the 6 and 5 down there next to the weapon and shield icon. That's because, again, in Berwick Saga, weapon, you have a separate skill stat for every weapon that you have in. It seems that this ain't Fire Emblem 4 where you can like kill a boss and then seize in the same chapter. That's why Sigurd was like the best lord ever, like, because in Fire Emblem 4, like, when you capture a castle, all units attached to that castle just die. So there you go. Who else but Sigurd can kill like so many enemies? Like, can kill like 10 enemies, not just in one turn, but in one attack. It's crazy. He really was busted. Alright, get more tea. I'm just gonna move there and just gonna try to kill this one guy. I can actually get to hit with the UI. Alright, just one more and they're done. And he missed, so I get my counter. Am I gonna counter? Am I gonna kill? Yeah, I was going to... He actually attacked back. That wouldn't happen in Berwick Saga. I'm guessing in this game, retry can be either... The retry phase could be either for the defender or the initiator, as long as they're faster. In Berwick Saga, only the initiator had the retry phase. The defender couldn't get it. And this guy won't die. I think it may explain it. Yeah, it does explain it. Over here at 3, it says like you can get your retry attack if you're 3 faster than the enemy. Okay, alright, let's see if he will finally die right now. He has fairly decent hit, although I wish it actually showed the number of the hit. Like, it has room for the UI to do that. And now... Actually... I cannot see, huh? So, it's... yeah, they're still quirks. This is only in version 0.2. So... it seems like I can see with hers. He might be the second lord, I'm not sure. Anyways, I cleared the stage. And now we get the little ending cutscene. But yeah, I'm glad this game exists in all honesty, because I'm making my own plugins for SRPG Studio so I can make a Berwick Saga inspired game, but it seems like this guy beat me to the punch. I mean, I only found one other like Berwick Saga inspired game other than this, which was a multiplayer tactics game that's now defunct, unfortunately. But this is pretty cool. I really do hope that the developer continues with this, because I don't want to be the only one to make a Berwick Saga inspired game. I mean, Berwick Saga is great. Like, the more the merrier, I believe. Anyways, it seems that was it. That was the first map. I hope you enjoyed this little game as much as I did. There's still a lot of kinks and quirks to work out, but I really do hope the developer actually finishes this, because I don't want to be the only one working on a Berwick Saga inspired game. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I can start up this YouTube channel again. Goodbye.